Rocketry, The Nambi Effect is a brand new film that just dropped in theaters today. We're going to talk about it. Let's do it. What is up, flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. You all let me know that this film was playing in theaters this weekend, and thankfully, I was able to find it at my local cinema, so I went and checked out this crazy true story, something so crazy that it has to be true. It was also filmed in 3 different languages. We'll get into it right now. So this is all about the life of scientist Nambi, who is framed of being a spy and arrested in 1994. Though now he is free, he is still fighting for justice, and the police officials who falsely implicated him, they are still walking free as well. So it was a fascinating tale, one that, to be honest with you, I didn't know anything about. Madhavan brought this to my attention, directing, writing, and starring in this movie, and again, taking on the task of filming this in 3 different languages. I would assume that process was extremely difficult and one that takes a lot of time. So factoring that into my review, I have to look at and appreciate the time spent on a movie like this that is heavily focused on the technical terms of what this man did in casting and creating these cryogenic engines to power rockets. You know, when people say, well, it's not rocket science, Austin, this movie literally is rocket science. And at times, it's going to continue to bring us all of this information and somewhat leave the audience behind. There were points in the film where I was kind of struggling to keep up with the pace of all of the information flying at you. That is something that was inauthentic. It definitely felt realistic. So the information presented to us and really the way it's presented, that worked for me. So we get a lot at the beginning of the film, kind of the origins of this real life figure, graduating from Princeton, recognizing and everyone around him beginning to recognize as he corrects professors and realizes that he may just be slightly smarter than everyone else, but recognizing true greatness and really true genius. But as we progress through the story and things start to become a bit more complicated, the film goes from presenting us with information and showing us the rise of this incredibly brilliant man to somewhat of an espionage type of movie when his name is slandered and he is essentially framed as a popular figure. Everything goes crazy. Scientists are learning French and, going in as literal spies. And this is, again, a true story. So it's so outlandish. It's hard to believe that it's true, but it is. And that makes for a fascinating experience. There are torture scenes. It gets violent. I found the 3rd act to be extremely informative and entertaining. When this group, a group of perpetrators that were never found, even though the movie hints that it may have been an international thing, when they begin targeting our hero, that's when the film became the most interesting for me. Because even though we're getting all of this information at the beginning, the way that it's packaged and put together, and we're talking specifically the editing. Listen, I thought the script was really well done here. Some of the dialogue is up and down tonally, but for the most part, I was enjoying the information presented. The editing, on the other hand, whether it be the crossfades from scene to scene, fading to black at times when it didn't really make sense, the blackouts dissolving when it didn't need to, instead of one big cohesive experience, and I get it, you're fitting a lot of time into one film, it started to feel a bit jumbled and choppy throughout the movie, especially in the middle of the film. Listen, it's not an overly long movie, and I don't think I felt the pacing in a bad way, but the middle portion is a portion that could have moved a bit quicker, could have felt more like a smooth experience, especially when you're getting all of this information that is a lot to take in. And when it's a lot to take in, the pacing slows down, you're becoming a bit more annoyed with the filmmaking. That kind of came together to make me feel like I was becoming a bit more and more disappointed. But thankfully, we get into that 3rd act and it picks right back up. It once again becomes not only informative, which is good, but you have to formulate that package, and it does, and it was informative and entertaining, and that espionage is trying to recover from people slandering your name. that portion of the film worked extremely well. While this is a very inspiring film, my main complaints come with the way it is packaged together. Overly dramatic at points, still full of heart, but it did leave me wanting just a bit more at the end of the day from the filmmaking. But I think a lot of people are going to love the representation of this true story on screen, especially if you already knew this information. But for me, a newcomer, I was fascinated by it. Before I give you guys my score, let me know, what did you think of this film down below? Leave your thoughts. I would love to see your responses. The film struggles with the way it is all packaged together, but the final act is rousing. I'm going a 68% with my score. This movie worked extremely well for me for the most part. And again, I was really fascinated with this true story. It's something that I didn't know I needed to know, but I'm glad I know it. Does that make sense? Hey guys, come back. I reviewed RRR and Vikram and KGF and all of those movies, but I continue to need films to go out and seek in the cinema. So if you have any recommendations, let me know those down below. I appreciate it big time. I'll see you soon.